Good evening, traders, and welcome to another post-market recap. So, in today's recap, we're going to be talking about it's an all-time highs trading market, but we unfortunately, as a team, had a red trading day. So, regardless of the fact, this market is definitely a very hard one. Last week, we pretty much crushed this market, but my service is all about being a transparent and performance-based room. We take surveys for all our members, and we often go through these trades, go through the analysis, see what we did wrong and see what we did right to always constantly get better. Now, anyone that ever tells you that they nailed every single day or they're perfect no matter what is complete liars. There's no way in option trading that anyone could ever score perfect hits no matter what. The losses that we had experienced was only related towards one trade, and pretty much that trade was a more of a lotto trade, but it was one that we believed would have worked. Okay, so basically, what had happened here is that we started off the day pretty weak here. Normally, when it comes to taking a trade right off the bat here, we bought the 64.20 call, for example, right off the open here because we said the pre-market high was at 64.20. Now, taking this trade right off the bat here, did specify it was a lotto, but the communication was kind of off because I always take feedback from my members after a failed trade, and I didn't really specify on voice, and a lot of people jumped into it right away because they didn't want to miss the opportunity since the market opened lower than where we are, and we were actually in a positive news environment. Okay, so that's very crucial to understand here. The market structure based on my daily chart over here. So let's take a look. So when we take a look at the daily chart over here, the market structure was pretty much destined to be choppy and sideways action. Okay, and but we just had some FOMO right off the bat because of the whole EU trading news. This was our neutral range. This is where the market tends to settle off. It pretty much popped there eventually and then dumped to our level 1 bullish here. So the first mistake that I personally made when I was trying to get calls, I didn't wait for a key support. I pretty much just bought it right off that open, right? So some traders actually took a trade at this specific zone and managed to score over 60% at a WAP retrace here. So that was interesting to see, but we've seen that the market was declining and not able to get towards 64.20 here, okay? So the first play of the week was a failed one, and we take, pretty much acknowledge that it was a bad play. However, our next one, we realized with that being said, the money was going into semiconductors with banks being weak. So with that being said, we looked at NVDA when we wanted to get a solid entry. This entry was so precisely to be at the bottom that not everyone got a fill. But it was at 62 cents, and I warned everyone, jump in. This is the play that's gonna give it to us. SMCI calls didn't get filled. Our AMD we got in. This went up to 30%, but I bought it while I was in the bathroom. And this NVIDIA 180 call, I got the fill. Some other people got the fill too, but it was very tight. And another mistake that I made here is I averaged down on this play here, thinking that it'll go up, which is normally something I don't do. So that's what contributed to our red day. If I didn't do that, I probably would have had a green day. And pretty much at the end of the day, we've seen NVIDIA go insane, and we booked profits at 100%. Okay. So this week, I still also have a lot of swings. I still have my Oracle swing, my Tesla puts, and so forth. Okay, the Oracle one was actually doing pretty well. It was up 30%. The MSTR one did do so. I have 3 swings from last week, which was pretty much with profits, considering that we had a very successful week. But we'll set that aside here. Now, going forward, based on where we see today, NVIDIA is setting up to be at a potential breakout zone. I wanted to take my profits on NVIDIA here because I wanted to make sure I reduce my losses, with the 2K SPX loss that we had here. So we pretty much took a $1,600 win off this NVIDIA play. So we're looking to see if NVIDIA can break through here as well. I still have capital in AMD, which to my knowledge here, it was stuck at our level 1 bullish here. Okay, so what we had waited for with respects to AMD is that we pretty much waited for a little bit of a drop at this level and first level 1 bullish inflection point. You can see that happening over here. Rejected. Now pre-market wise, it's above that, right? So focusing my attentions on AMD and just holding that was a better plan to make sure that I take some profits off the table, reduce my exposure to the semiconductor space, and move the inflection point right over here. It was going to become very tough for the market to keep pushing forward here. So this is what we were looking at right now. But other interesting setups that I really want to go with you guys, and hopefully it'll be interesting to see, is that core weave was actually very weak and it hit our first inflection point. Okay, this continues to see more downside here, and now it's becoming the point that where is the bottom here? Okay, so we have a planned potential bottom at around 104. If it hits this point here, not a bad spot to add equity, but it could break down to 98. So that would pretty much hurt a little bit too if it does break down to that point. But I would say buying calls maybe an extra week, or buying a partial position here, and then adding size at around 98 may be good here, okay? Because if we're heading into Microsoft, Amazon, and all those company earnings that are in the cloud space, this is the perfect catalyst to buy the bottom on. So really want to pay attention to CoreWeave over here. There's also ARM earnings that we have this week as well, which we anticipate could see a range between 143 and 192. So we'll be watching that. Broadcom actually looked pretty good this as well this week. So we'll keep an eye on that, and we'll see how that works. It's close to a major breakout zone, right along our level 2 bullish share as well. So we'll be pretty much watching those trades in depth. SMCI also had a very good day where it broke through our level 1 and started to fly there. We were trying to get this trade earlier, but it was in the breakout zone. We didn't get a chance to jump into that this week, but we'll definitely watch that. And I really like Oracle as well. It's still in our chop range, but it has an opportunity to go to, if it does get through 250, 249, then it looks like it's set up to go to 254 this week here. So we'll watch that as well. Banks showing a little bit of sign of weakness here. If we see GS go back to 714, it looks pretty weak. Tesla also had a great day today as well. It slightly broke through its bullish breakout zone. So if it doesn't hold 320, guys, watch out. Probably can go back to 308. The news on that Tesla's building and investing to their own semiconductors is what I think is propping this up so far. So we'll take a look at that, and that's pretty much what we got going on for this week. I want to keep this video short here and acknowledge that the room did experience a red day. It's not something that's very common, but it's something that we're very transparent about. In this market where there's a lot of chop, the market's at all-time highs, the market wants to go higher, but it requires some dips. People want to buy the dips, and it's very hard to go up and very hard to go down. So that's pretty much what we're dealing with the FOMC interest rate announcement happening with this major earnings. The market is waiting for some level of news. So it could go either way, and we want to really wait for the right opportunity to strike to get that money and eventually move forward. So volatility will kick in once we know exactly the type of earnings we have, what the interest rate announcement is, and what the guidance is going to be. So we're going to be focusing on our A+ setups, because with NVIDIA, we waited for the trade to come to us. It came to us and immediately gave us a double, through the end of the day. So those are the type of trades that we really want to focus on moving forward. This red day helps me figure out the plan for the following days, because we know that with the market being at all-time highs and a news-based format, that it's going to be very difficult to navigate the markets. And pretty much, if SPX is trading in this chop range, you treat it like that as well. Okay, so that's what we got. We'll see you guys in the next one, and like always, let's get that money.